So, how smart is AI really? We hear all this stuff about it passing the bar exam, acing medical tests, but when we say it's getting smarter, what are we actually measuring? Today, we're going to dive into what might be the ultimate final exam for AI, a test designed to see if it's a true genius or just really good at studying.
It feels like every single week there's a new highlight reel of AI achievements, right? The pace is just so fast that the conversation has already jumped way ahead to artificial general intelligence, or AGI. You know, the idea of a system that doesn't just crush one task, but could potentially beat humans at, well, at most of them.
And that brings us to the real heart of the matter. Is AI genuinely understanding complex ideas like a human expert does? Or has it just gotten incredibly good at recognizing patterns and acing tests? Because, there's a huge difference between those two things.
To get to the bottom of this, a team of researchers built something new. Think of it as a final exam, so comprehensive, so incredibly difficult, that it's designed to push even the most advanced AI models to their absolute breaking point.
Now, to really appreciate why this new exam is such a game changer, you have to understand that, for a long time, the way we've tested AI has been, well, pretty limited. Even our hardest tests were kind of like pop quizzes for a real expert.
And this slide really nails the difference. The old benchmarks, they focused on common sense stuff, recognizing a cat in a photo, knowing the capital of France, things you might learn in middle school. But this new challenge, totally different ballpark. It demands college-level, expert domain knowledge, and the ability to reason about super complex, specialized visuals.
Just to give you a sense of that leap in difficulty, take a look at this. It's a breast MRI scan. This one, single, incredibly complex image is just one part of one question on this new exam. The AI can't just recognize it, it has to interpret it like a trained radiologist would.
So let's officially meet the test itself. It's called the MMMU, which is short for the Massive, Multidiscipline, Multimodal Understanding and Reasoning Benchmark. And yeah, for all intents and purposes, it's a college final exam built specifically for AI.
What makes this thing so brutal is just the sheer scale of it. We're talking 11,500 questions, and these aren't just made up, they're pulled directly from real college exams, quizzes, and textbooks. It covers 6 huge disciplines, everything from art and design to tech and engineering, and spans 30 different subjects. The scope is just enormous.
So let's take a quick tour of what the AI is actually facing. First up, in health and medicine, can it read this medical scan? This question is asking for the cause, the etiology, of a specific finding in this breast MRI. That requires some serious, specialized medical knowledge.
Then boom, a complete change of gears. We're in tech and engineering. Can it analyze this pretty complex circuit diagram and calculate the correct voltage? This isn't just about recognizing a picture. It's about applying specific engineering formulas.
And from hard science, it has to pivot to human nuance. This humanities question asks the AI to interpret a political cartoon from 1904. To get this right, the model needs to understand historical context, cultural subtext, and even get the satire.
And of course, it has to handle pure abstract logic. Can it look at this graph of 2 functions and correctly set up the integral to find the area of that shaded region? This is a straight-up test of its mathematical reasoning chops.
And then, to top it all off, it gets tested on something like this, creative interpretation. The question asks the AI to read sheet music and find which harmonic interval is built incorrectly. I mean, the breadth of expert knowledge required here is just staggering.
Okay, so that's the exam, the toughest one ever created for AI. So the billion-dollar question is, how do the world's most advanced models actually do? Let's take a look at the report card.
All right, the top performer was GPT-4V, one of the most powerful models out there today, and its final score was 55.7%. Yeah, barely a passing grade. That number alone tells you almost everything you need to know about just how hard this test really is.
And to really put that score in perspective, the researchers also had human experts, college seniors who were studying these exact subjects, take parts of the test. The best human experts scored 88.6%. I mean, that is a massive performance gap. It shows just how far today's AI has to go to reach true expert-level thinking.
And things get even more fascinating when you break down GPT-4V's score by subject. You can see a really clear pattern. It did much better in humanities and art and design, subjects that often use more natural images like photos and paintings, but it really struggled in science and tech and engineering, the areas where it had to interpret complex diagrams, charts, and chemical structures.
So, we know the AI struggled. But why? What was actually going wrong in its brain? Digging into the specific mistakes it made gives us a really clear diagnosis of its current weaknesses.
The errors basically fall into three main buckets. 35% were perceptual errors, meaning the AI just didn't see the image correctly. A lot of this comes down to the fact that AI doesn't have a physical body or real-world experience to ground its understanding. Another 29% came from a simple lack of knowledge, and 26% were reasoning errors, where it saw the image, had the knowledge, but just couldn't connect the dots logically.
Let's look at a really specific example of a perceptual error. It's a task that's incredibly simple for a human, which makes the AI's failure here really telling.
Okay, so in this question, the AI was shown 3 drawings and asked which one represented a mix of egoism and altruism. And here's the wild part. The model perfectly understood the philosophy. It even correctly described the right drawing in its answer. But the question simply said the drawings were ordered from left to right, top to bottom, and the AI completely failed to follow that basic spatial instruction. It couldn't map its own correct reasoning to the correct image ID on the page. So, does all this mean that AI is a failure? No. Not at all. Actually, it's kind of the opposite. Results like this are incredibly valuable. They give us a clear, direct roadmap for building the next generation of truly expert-level AI.
At the end of the day, the MMMU isn't a failing grade. It's a diagnostic tool. It shines this huge spotlight on the specific weaknesses of our current models, their fragile perception, their gaps in knowledge, their flawed reasoning. It basically gives researchers a precise map of where to focus all their efforts next.
So really, what this ultimate exam shows us is that AI has gotten very good at passing high school. It even managed to scrape by on its college finals. The real question this test leaves us with is what's it going to take to get it ready for its PhD defense? And for the first time, we actually have the syllabus to get it there.